Okay, how about another Delphi video for all the Delphi hounds in my subscriptions list here? I know you guys are out there. I found a clip of Snay from Twitter when I was tooling around. Let's watch this.
Mark told me about the phone. Mark told me they put, I can't remember what he called it. I can't read my own handwriting. Something that you can put over a phone to keep it from getting a signal. Drug dealers use it. Mark knew about a lot of stuff. You know, something really weird that Mark knew that I can't understand. Did Mark know about the thing plugged into the auxiliary jack when the state didn't even know about that? That's when I knew. That's when I knew, Mark. When I heard something come back from the defense that the state didn't even know, the state got caught by surprise, then I went looking through these notebooks, and that's where it was, right there. How'd you know about that, Mark? How'd you know about that in March of 2023? Man, that's weird, dude. Anyway, animal hair. Did you guys know the girls were covered in animal hair? Even Abby, who was washed. Yeah, another rumor confirmed, guys. Abby's body was washed. She was treated very differently in the movie. Very differently.
Hold on. Abby's body was washed? Okay, this word washed, are you telling me like bathed, showered, like soapy fresh clean? Is that what we mean here, washed? I'm not sure. I'm going to have to get an answer from Rick Snay. And Mark here. This is Mark, is it Robert Cohen? Mark Cohen out of Texas. The guy who was feeding Snay some of this information. And it sounds like to me, based on my previous conversation with Rick, which part 2 of that goes live at 6:30 Eastern tonight on my YouTube page, were they? I asked Rick, was it a sabotage operation? The leaking of the crime scene photos. This wasn't, Andy Baldwin's good friend who just couldn't contain himself and wanted the world to see the weird crime scene photos. No. That's the cover story. The real story, like I said, it's sabotage. It was Andy Baldwin's Watergate, a setup job, right? I had an inkling of that, and Rick Snay confirmed it to me. And you know what? I'm going with that. Grown men know they can't leak crime scene photos, especially if they're, quote, best friends. They're going to betray their buddy in a huge case like this where his reputation's on the line. No. I'm afraid it was a setup job. And the phones in the bags. Since I stopped the video, I'll just comment on that now. The phones in the bags. Is this why the phones seemingly unconnected and then reconnected at 4:33 a.m.? And all the messages and missed calls and voicemails trickled onto the phone at 4:33 a.m. See, I didn't even know, what are they, I'm familiar with the prepper stuff. They talk about, if an EMP goes off, you need Faraday cages for your electronics so they don't get warped and zapped, and you can use them after the grid goes down. Well, apparently they make these little Faraday bags that all the drug dealers know about. I didn't know about that. I'm not in criminal mischief, so I'm not looking into little tools to help me do dirty deeds here. So yeah, that's news to me. But I do remember reading about Faraday cages that protect you from EMF radiation on phones, and if there's an EMP attack, electromagnetic pulse that zaps all the electronics, the preppers tell you to get a Faraday cage. It'll block all that. So, like Rick said, how did Mark Cohen in Texas know these intricate details? Is he playing the role? Is he really a spy? Is he playing the role and working on behalf of the state and feeding bullshit to several content creators like Rick Snay to try to to try to make Rick Snay the bad guy, right? Feed him bad information so he runs with it and makes a fool out of himself, and then he attracts all the bad attention on him, and it further sinks the case of the defense. I think there is something to this. This is extremely interesting stuff. All right, enough of me blabbing. Let's continue on with the video.
Because she was collateral damage. Libby was the one they were after. They sent a message. That's what it was. It was a message. Loud and clear. Now, think about this, guys. Somebody screaming at 2 a.m. while there's 2 girls missing. Isn't that reasonable doubt? Even for this jury? Oh, again, that's third-party stuff in there. Can't give him a chance to prove he isn't guilty.
Let's watch it one more time, since I'm here and we're commenting.
Mark told me about the phone. Mark told me they put, I can't remember what he called it. I can't read my own handwriting. Something that you can put over a phone to keep it from getting a signal. Drug dealers use it. Mark knew about a lot of stuff. You know, something really weird that Mark knew that I can't understand. Did Mark know about the thing plugged into the auxiliary jack when the state didn't even know about that? That's when I knew.
That's a Stacey Eldridge, the headphone in, headphone out. What, 5:44 p.m.? The headphone jack goes in right as an incoming call is ringing the phone, right? And then I believe the headphone jack was pulled out of the phone, unplugged at 10:32 p.m. that night of the 13th. And of course, from the FBI data and the Nicole Robertson search warrant, we know that Ron Logan's cell phone was pinged in that general area of the crime scene at what, 10:16 p.m., 10:15, somewhere in there. About 15, 16 minutes before the headphone jack is unplugged from the phone. Stacey Eldridge knew much more, but she couldn't get into the details on the stand because she can only answer the question that the attorneys, Baldwin, Auger, and Rosie, ask her on the stand. She can't just get up there and start saying everything, right? Again, that 20 terabytes of discovery data, I think we've only seen the tip of the iceberg. I think there's stuff in there they just didn't have time to get into. In the state doesn't know anything. They came up with this narrative, this concocted story to make it simple and stupid for a jury to connect. Oh, Richard Allen's a bridge guy, and it had to be bridge guy that killed him. And he's got the bridge guy starter kit. Therefore, Richard Allen did it. That was the logic. All right. Enough of me blabbing. Let's continue.
That's when I knew, Mark. When I heard something come back from the defense that the state didn't even know, that the state got caught by surprise, then I went looking through these notebooks, and that's where it was, right there. How'd you know about that, Mark? How'd you know about that in March of 2023? Man, that's weird, dude. Anyway, animal hair. Did you guys know the girls were covered in animal hair? Even Abby, who was washed. Yeah, another rumor confirmed, guys. Abby's body was washed. She was treated very differently than the movie. Very differently. Because she was collateral damage. Libby was the one they were after. They sent a message. That's what it was. It was a message. Loud and clear. Now, think about this, guys. Somebody screaming at 2 a.m. while there's 2 girls missing? Isn't that reasonable doubt? Even for this jury? Oh, again, that's third-party stuff in there. Can't give him a chance to prove he isn't guilty.
Okay, sorry about the phone call here. This is a live studio production, and of course I get a phone call. What do you think? You want to do it one more time? Let's do it one more time.
Mark told me about the phone. Mark told me they put, I can't remember what he called it. I can't read my own handwriting. something that you can put over a phone to keep it from getting a signal. Drug dealers use it. Mark knew about a lot of stuff. You know, something really weird that Mark knew that I can't understand. Did Mark know about the thing plugged into the auxiliary jack when the state didn't even know about it? That's when I knew. That's when I knew, Mark. When I heard something come back from the defense that the state didn't even know, that the state got caught by surprise, then I went looking through these notebooks, and that's where it was, right there. How'd you know about that, Mark? How'd you know about it in March of 2023? Man, that's weird, dude. Anyway, animal hair. Did you guys know the girls were covered in animal hair? Even Abby, who was washed. Yeah.
Yeah, this is another rumor. I think I talked about this with Amy, the animal hair rumor. And wasn't it said at one time that, oh, it's hair from Richard Allen's house cat, something like that? Well, what if it was hair, especially from Libby? What if it was hair of rabbits? Where in the Reese Davis story, it's portrayed that Ron and Keegan put Libby's body on a tarp in the I don't know if he's got a barn or it's near the rabbit cages, according to that story. Interesting.
Another rumor confirmed, guys. Abby's body was washed. She was treated very differently than Libby. Very differently. Because she was collateral damage. Libby was the one that were after her. They sent a message. That's what it was. It was a message. Loud and clear. Now, think about this, guys. Somebody screaming at 2 a.m. while there's 2 girls missing. Isn't that reasonable doubt? Even for this jury. Oh, again, that's third-party stuff in there. Can't give him a chance to prove he isn't guilty.
It's my understanding that the 1:30, 2 a.m. screams in the middle of the night, and it was multiple screams from what I recall reading. What was it? Taya Miller? I remember reading that there were 2 women, not just one, 2 women that reported screams in the night. One was in a search party out tramping through the forest, tramping through the woods with what I imagine to be a flashlight or the light on her phone, lighting it up as they're searching. And then I seem to recall reading another account that a nearby woman who lived in that area woke up from the dead asleep, woke up after hearing these screams in the middle of the night, and that one of these women called in to local police or the sheriff's department, reported what they heard, and she was told back from the police dispatch operator that, sorry, we're all busy and tied up. I don't have anyone to send out there right now. Again, I'm going off memory. I could be mistaken. I could be mixing different things up or getting details wrong here, but that's what I recall off the top of my head here. I don't remember. I did get this clip, this Snay video clip from Twitter, and I don't recall the name of the account, so apologies. I'm not trying to steal work or anything like that. I just saw it and figured I'd capture it because it's Snay talking about Delphi. So sorry, I keep looking at my phone to see who called me. What else was I going to tell you? Oh, well, if you guys want to talk, and if you want to get into more details, which I have plenty more, and I even have most of the YouTube stuff, my playlist, archived on my school site, where you can download the school app and you can watch all the documentaries, all the court TV episodes right from your pocket. You can read and listen to all the recordings that I've been over. It's right there, and of course, it's all in the links for that. So if you want to come talk to me, hey, if you want me to talk to someone else, there's plenty of people out there And believe it or not, guys, it's actually difficult. It's not so easy to get in touch with people. 10, 15 years ago, it was pretty easy to like message someone out of the blue, a cold call message. It'd be like, hey, what's up? I'm a listener, I'm a follower. Can we get together and talk? It's not so easy anymore. Especially the bigger personality they are on YouTube. They got gatekeepers and managers, and it's like walking into a corporation and trying to sell them a piece of software. You get stopped by the secretary and you get the runaround, and they try to prevent you from talking directly to the person. It's surprisingly difficult to message someone out of the blue and get through to them. So if you got someone that, and I've gotten these messages, well, hey, why don't you talk to this person? Why don't you talk to that person? Well, I'd love to, believe it, but it's difficult getting through. So if you can get me in touch with different people, I would appreciate the connection. All right, I've yapped enough here. This is my little short video about the Rick Snay clip here, and I will reach out to him. I'll send him this video. Maybe we can comment on it here in the coming days.